Facebook. Give me a second. I want to grab my water. So I'll be off tomorrow and the next day, which is nice. You know. Here we go. Okay. So we were going over Abram yesterday. And all I'm going over is promise. That word, promise. You know. I mean, it's just amazing how God works. It's phenomenal. I don't want to be too, but it's just amazing. I'm gonna turn on this light up here because this backlight is kind of throwing off a little bit. There we go. That should help a little bit. A little bit anyway. Anyway, YouTube's getting kind of old. But anyway, so it's odd. Let me go over it again. So this is found in Genesis 12. And I'll tell you, because definite, unmoving things that you just can't argue against. You if you go to a funeral, you don't bring the person in the coffin a sandwich. You just don't. There's traditions out there and there's beliefs and all that. They feed them and whatnot, and that's okay. I mean, however people do stuff, that's their business. I personally think it's silly because there's a lot of different races and beliefs out there, that they bring food to. And I'll tell you something. When I get, just like people that go to funerals, you're going to hate it, but I'm going to say it. It's for their own guilt. They don't show up for the person. Because generally they never visited the person when they were alive. So now they feel guilty for not visiting them because they intended to. Or they talked bad about them, or, they didn't like them. And so they show up for their own conscience to say, at least I went to their funeral. And of course they're factoring themselves in there because everybody has a funeral. Anyway, so you wouldn't do that. That's something that's solid. That if they're dead, they're dead. So it's definite. It's stuff that can't be argued. You can't touch the sun at all. That's a definite. Now I know, because people say ambiguity, people say gray area, people say a lot of stuff, but there's no. Just like a lady was bringing an argument for us, and she didn't answer no more because she really didn't have an argument. I won't go into the subject matter because, of course, it's controversial. But when God basically told Abram to get out of everything, to get out of his country, to get away from his family, to get away from his father's house, basically that's what he did. He that looks like a form of control, because if you take this into consideration today, that would be considered a cult. Get away from your family. It's funny because I see people that disappear, and after they're dead, after they're discovered dead, then people get involved. Where were you before they disappeared? Hello. And most of the time they get involved because it's commercialization for whatever movement they're in, whatever business they have. Honestly, that's what it is. It's got nothing to do with the person, because where were you before they disappeared? Didn't give a damn about that person. But after they're dead, after they're discovered, then it's like, oh, gee, we better do something. Well, where were you before? How about you take that attitude of a person that's not here anymore and focus it on a person that is here so they don't end up missing or gone. Anyway, so it'd be kind of cultic, you know, considered a cult. It would be considered cultic. Let me read it again. I'm going to read it for you. Genesis 12:1. Now the Lord had said unto Abram, get out of your country. Get out. You know, leave it alone. That identity, leave it alone. Okay, I'm going to say it. Race, gender, socioeconomic status, um, whatever you define yourself as, leave it alone. Because I have to tell you, God is not male or female. God is not Republican or Democrat. God is not denominational identity. God is not any of those things. Period. Now that's hard because that's how we define ourselves. We define ourselves, you know. Now again, it's getting, you know, tossed up by man, of course, not God, because God's definitive. It's getting tossed up because of how people feel. You know, and there's nothing wrong with what you feel. You know, the problem is when it tries to be solid and it's not. Okay, let me show you what I mean. Let me give you an aspect of all that's going on today. It'd be like somebody having a dream as they're asleep. Let's just say they went through a major breakup. Let's just say, not just gone through it, but they love somebody, they broke up. I'm going to give you the scenario. They broke up with them, their heart is aching, they're hurting, time passes on, let's say 5 years. And of course, they still miss them, what have you. So they go to sleep one night and they dream about this other person that they never met before. So in that dream, they meet them, they end up getting married, they have kids. Then they wake up from the dream. That'll be a movie, wouldn't it? Anyway, and as they're walking to work or they're driving in their car, they see that person that they never met before from the dream. And they start pursuing this person and they start acting as if, well, the dream must be real because I never met, you get what I'm saying? That's not logical, folks. That's not solid. Period. And that's what's going on today. But that's understandable from the realm of the earth. Okay. Now, I'll give you something of what God says about himself that he witnesses and testifies about himself. I'll give you something from the scriptures. If you go to John, again, I like John. We're always in John, but here's what it says. Here's what it says. Just gives us a little bit, a little, if you will, opening. Watch this. Here's chapter 4 of John. Chapter 4 of John. Here's what it says. This is something that we can actually pinpoint and say definitively. This is something that is definitive. Just like I told you, you can't touch the sun. The plasma ball up there, you can't touch it. 24. 4. God is a spirit. There you go. Let me read it again. God is a spirit. And this is something that Jesus said. And that's his Father, so he knows. So that's something solid and definitive. Let me give you another one. We're going from solidity here, structure, foundation, if you will. Watch this. And the Lord. Oh, let's see, here it is. Oh, here it is. 1 John. Now remember, we just read in 4:24 of John, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. God is love. Or excuse me, God is a spirit. That's definitive. 1 John 4, chapter 4, 8. He that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. Boom. Two definitives. Two definitives that no one can go against. God is a spirit. God is love. Doesn't have love. He is love itself. Can't go against that. So when Abram is told to leave the identity alone, to leave the identity behind, and that's hard for some of us because we still want to define by the flesh. But I'm going to give this to you by God's grace. God is the one that rips that stuff away from us. God is the one that, takes that out of us. And that's hard because sometimes it feels lonely. If you didn't have your church group, if you didn't have your Bible study group, if you didn't have your building, if you didn't have your whatever it is that you define yourself by, you're settled in there. You are, because you get uncomfortable if anyone goes against that. Straight up. And that's sad. You get uncomfortable if anybody questions that. You know what I mean? Like I told you the other day, when the lady told me, boy, I can't believe you're positive all the time. I just can't believe that. Now, here's the thing, folks. This is the understanding God's Spirit will give you. Straight up. As she's saying those words, of course, the Spirit of God retranslates those words. What she was sharing, what she was saying, had nothing to do with me. Honestly. Let me show you what I mean. Okay? And that's a lot of our problems too. Because we'll take what people say that don't even know us. Maybe around the way. Maybe, we sit together in the same lunchroom. Maybe, we catch the same bus. But that's not really knowing somebody. But we take the words that they say and we try to hold true to them when they don't even know us. How can somebody define anything when they don't even know us? More so, why are we sitting there taking words from people that don't even know us? So this lady that told me that, I'm going to give you what she was really saying. I'm going to translate what she was really saying. Gee, my life's all jacked up, but I'll portray a certain persona in public because that's how I'm supposed to act, sung and dance. But the way you are really bothers me because you're for real. But I can't have you be for real because if I have you be for real, that means that there's some kind of happiness that I'm not a part of. So I have to put that out so I can feel comfortable with the fake persona that I display in public eye. Now I floored her, you know, because I told her, I said, well, it's not positivity. It's got nothing to do with being positive. And it floored her. You see what I'm saying? Because they, most people on earth function by what somebody else told them instead of going and investigating and experiencing something for themselves so they can say it firsthand instead of secondhand. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to give you an example. I'm not saying to do this. I'm not saying to make this part of your thing. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm going to give you something. If you like a certain fruit, it doesn't matter what fruit it is. And let's say you're at home. And let's say that as you're at home, you think on this fruit. And you think, I really want to experience that fruit. I am going to go to the grocery store and purchase this fruit. So you get up, you head over to wherever it is you go to buy groceries, and you purchase that fruit and you eat the fruit. You really think you've experienced that fruit. You really haven't experienced that fruit. I'm talking full experience. I like apples. So if I go to the grocery store and buy an apple and eat it, I think I didn't experience it. Watch this. I'm going to give you the full experience of the fruit. I take the seed of that fruit. I plant it in the ground. I grow the tree of that fruit. I take care of the tree that produces that fruit. Whatever it takes, getting dirty, watering it. All of a sudden, something grows out of that, a blossom, if you will. The fruit grows out of that tree of that seed that I planted. Then I pick the fruit. Then I eat the fruit. Now I experience the full experience of that fruit. Hello. See, we're getting the tail end of it, thinking it's a full experience, and it's not. That's why we feel so lacking at times. Again, I'm not saying go out and do these things. That's not what I'm saying. But we got to quit talking like we fully experienced something when we never really did. And so here, when I shared with this lady and I told her, it has nothing to do with, because I'm going to tell you the danger of being positive. Uh-oh. Did I just say that? I'm going to give it to you. You're not going to like it, but I'm going to give it to you.